What's going on? Welcome to the next lesson. And today we are going to jump into the actual selling process, right? So you know how selling works by now, right? We've already covered some ways to build rapport. We've covered what the selling process is, right? Finding a deep need, hurt, right? Some pain, and then healing their solution, healing their pain with your solution, right? And so now that we kind of know what the sales process is, now we can move on to, okay, now that I know what it is, now I know what I'm actually doing, what I'm striving for. Now, how can I actually take that and move it into action? How can I take it and start doing something with it? And so with that, we're going to hop over to the screen. All right. So what is the first step in the sales process, right? What is the first step in, like, I'm not talking, we already talked about building ways to build rapport, and we talked about deciding what you want, which is the actual step number one. So, but what's the first step in the sales process? Because now you got some fuel in the fire. Now you gotta start letting that fire burn, right? So first thing you want to do is prepare. The reason why people are scared to reach out to other people or make calls or do anything like that is because you're not prepared, right? You don't know who this person is. You don't know what they want. You don't know, you don't know anything about them. And so you're picking up the phone on a cold call and you're like, "Hey, John, this is AJ from da 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 da. Did I catch you at a bad time?" Right? And that's a great script, by the way, without the "Hey, John, this is da da da." Hello, did I catch you at a bad time? I'll give you that later. But what you got to do is you got to do some homework. You got to be willing to sit back and do some homework before you start selling, right? So you got to understand, who are they, right? What are their interests? What are their needs? What are their wants? How can you contact them? Why will they be interested in talking to you? Because if you can go on, it's so easy to find people's information now. You can go on Facebook, you can go on LinkedIn, you can go on Instagram, and everybody has all their stuff out there. So you can literally take 10 minutes to go prepare, and it's going to make that call, that email, whatever it is that you're trying to do, it's going to make it so much easier because of the fact that you know who you're talking to. So even though they're a stranger, it's not going to feel like talking to a stranger, right? Let me ask you this. You have someone that you follow on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram that has millions or hundreds of thousands of followers, and you've watched hundreds of their videos, and you feel like you know this person personally. And if you were to meet him, you'd be able to be like, "Oh yeah, man, hey, what happened that time can you tell me about that time when this happened and that happened?" And you feel like you know that person. They have no idea who you are, but they're gonna talk to you because you got mutual interest, right? Because you're speaking in terms of their wants, in terms of their needs. So do a little preparation, right? Ask yourself, how can you contact them? What's the best way to get a hold of them? Is it a cold call? Is it a email? Do you know someone, a mutual contact? Can you go into their place and drop off some donuts? What is going to be the best way to contact them? We already talked about, why would they be interested in talking to you? Another question, where do they spend their time? All right, is this a person that spends a lot of time online? Are they posting? Are they doing all that kind of stuff? Or is it someone that's traveling all over the place? What are some of their triggers? And then when can you make contact with them, right? If you want to talk to if you want to get in contact with the salesperson, right? When they're out in the field and doing their thing, you're probably not going to have a good shot of trying to sell to this salesperson. But after work, right, or during the slower parts of the day, or weekends, or Fridays, because everybody knows salespeople don't work on Fridays. Um, but finding that time to see when the best time to get in contact with them is. If you're calling every day, so when I used to work for a uniform sales company, we have our phone block every day from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And so I'd be there dialing, picking up the phone and dialing, right? And you start calling the same people over and over again. And what you notice is that that person's never available. So what should you do? Should you just keep calling at 8 a.m.? No. One day you call at 3 p.m. One day you call it freaking lunchtime, right? And you keep changing it up to try to get to this person, because you got to find when the best time to contact them is. The other thing is, know the advantages and the disadvantages of your product or service. Everything has disadvantages. Everything. There's no such thing as a perfect product or perfect service. Everything has disadvantages. The iPhone has disadvantages. Freaking bacon has disadvantages. You know what I mean? All the things that people love, all the things that we crave, they all have disadvantages, right? And so what are the disadvantages? The disadvantages of eating healthy are that normally you're not getting the best flavors, right? It doesn't taste the best. What are the disadvantages of eating sweets? You're getting all the fats and sugar and you're going to blow up, right? And so you got to know the advantages and the disadvantages of your solution. It makes it powerful. Another thing that's super advanced, but if you do it, man, it'll help you, is knowing the objections. And knowing the top objections that people are going to ask about your product or service, or have to your product or service. And they're typically the same, man. Don't want it, don't need it, can't afford it. I need to talk it over with someone else, which really means I don't believe that I need it, or I don't believe that I want it, or I don't trust you to sell it to me. It really comes down to a couple things. You can really take all the objections in the world and bring it down to really 3 or 4 things. They don't believe they want it, right? They don't want it. They don't believe they need it. Okay. They don't trust you to sell it to them, or they truly can't afford it, or they don't think they can afford it. They don't see a way for themselves to afford it. And those are the things, man. It comes down to those 4 things. And so knowing that, write down the objections, and so that way you can prepare for how to overcome them. And the last one, man, this is the kicker, right? Expect the best, but prepare for anything. Prepare for the worst. Be prepared for you to make that cold call and this person to be like, why the hell are you calling me? I will find out. Boo. However, be prepared for that person to say, yeah, I'm interested. So how much is it going to cost me? Right? Or when can we get started? Be prepared for the best. And sorry, I messed that up. Expect the best, but be prepared for the worst. Expect the best, but be prepared for the worst. A lot of times, man, I see people that expect the worst and are only prepared for the worst. And then when things go good, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to readjust. They don't know how to realign. And so expect the best and prepare for the worst. So for this lesson today, what I want you to do is I want you to go through and write out basically the top things that you want to know about your prospect, the person that you're going to sell to. It doesn't have to be a crazy long 500-page list, right? But what do you want to know about who they are, their interests, how you're going to contact them? What are some things that you want to know? Write down a couple in each category, about 2 to 3 in each category. And then the next thing, write down the advantages of your solution, your product or service. Write it in one column. On the other side, write down the disadvantages. So when you're talking to customers, you can address their concerns up front. The last thing, write down the objections, right? Write down the top objections that you get over and over and over again so you can be prepared to answer them. With that, this lesson is over. I will see you in the next one. Peace.